Hi, this is Jack Perry with On Point On Demand. In this video, I want to demonstrate seamless shipping integration for your PageDNA storefront infrastructure. I'm logged into my instance of PageDNA, and to save everyone time, I'm not going to show the process of creating an order. But what I have done is create an order here, and I've gone through the checkout process, and you can see that I've got a couple line items in this order. One is number 10 envelopes, and the other is some letterhead. And that has created an order number or a tracking number in PageDNA. You'll notice that I have two tabs open in my Chrome browser. One is PageDNA and the other is Acceleship. I'm going to click over to Acceleship. Now, assuming that your workflow is like most shipping workflows before our system, the print-on-demand orders are going to print, and the pick items are going to pick off the shelf, and ultimately those items are going to end up in the shipping department with a job ticket and or pick ticket. And the shipping operators are going to turn to a system and start to key the shipping information to execute a label. Now, in our system, in the Acceleship system, you can think of this as a multi-carrier shipping system. In other words, we support UPS, FedEx, USPS, DHL, and a host of other regional and LTL or freight carriers in a single interface. It's web-based. All you need is a browser to connect. So there's no software to maintain and no special equipment required. As a shipping operator, the first thing that I'm going to do is look for that order that I'm ready to fulfill and produce labels for. So in our system, an order is just that. It's a fully formed object that has come over from some outside system, like PageDNA, and is ready for a shipping event, where shipments are temporarily in the system and mean that they have a label processed against them and are either in the process of being picked up or are already in transit. So when I click on orders, I can see that my PageDNA order is in fact in the order queue. And I can click on it, and I can see if we've done our job correctly that the order is fully formed. And in this view, we refer to the order as a proposed shipment. So this is what our system has proposed based on the information that was sent over with the order. And in the leftmost column, you can see the information that originated with the order from the PageDNA system. So I've got an order number. The status of the order is new. At checkout, the end user requested FedEx ground. I've got the date and time stamp for when this order came into the system. I've got some cost information. I've got the source system or the name of the storefront from which this order came. You can see here that there's a billing zip code reference, and I'll get into that in a moment. And as I go down the page, you'll see that here's the destination address as it existed when it came over into the system. And the reason that it exists here is if I make a change to the destination address in the proposed shipment and forget what it's supposed to be, I can always refer back to the original destination address that came over with the order. And then I can quickly see that I've got two line items, both in quantity 500, for this order that have not shipped. When I move into the proposed shipment frame, I can see that we have this map to FedEx ground. I've got my origin address, which I can click on and change if I need to. I've got the destination address, which I can also click on and change if I need to. And I have the mapping to FedEx ground, and I have some billing information right here. So let me click on billing information. This demonstrates that the system brought over with it a third-party billing number and a third-party billing zip code. So in the case of UPS, for example, I'd have both items to satisfy a third-party billing shipment. Let's get rid of that for the purposes of executing this shipment, though. We'll just change it to sender. And notice that it now changes to sender. When I move over into the packages section, I have in my system a library of pre-existing packages that I commonly use. So when I click in presets and I click on custom, I can pick from one of the packages that are in my library, and it populates. And now I can simply enter the weight. And I can come over here and I can calculate a rate, or I could click on compare rates and transit times. And if you're like most companies using multiple carriers, this will show you your negotiated rates for UPS, FedEx, USPS, and even DHL. So here's my rates sorted by service and price. But in this case, I'm going to honor what the end user selected when they checked out of the cart in PageDNA, which is FedEx Ground. Let's recap. What have I done before I execute this shipment? I'm going to go back into orders. I'm going to click on the order number. Once I've opened the order as a shipping operator, the only thing that I have to do is select the number and type of carton that I want, enter the weight, and produce a label. So what the Acceleship system does in conjunction with your PageDNA system is changes what could be a several minute event into just a few seconds. Now I can see that I have an executed shipment with a tracking number. I can see the order lines that were included in this shipment. And as I look down here to the bottom left, I can now see that those line items have changed from a status of not shipped to shipped. And if I want to get more detail, I can click on the shipping ID and the page will refresh, and I can see an even broader review of the shipment that I created from that order. My origin, my destination, my negotiated rate to ship it. Acceleship also serves as a document library and stores all labels, all packing slips, and in the case of LTL and freight shipments, all bill of lading documentation. And we store that information for as long as you use our system. So if you use our system for 5 years, you'll be able to go back and see 5 years worth of data. We can see the packages that we shipped and the line items that were included in this shipment. And now I can come over to the right and I can take some specific actions like printing labels, printing a return label, printing out the packing slip, etc. And a nice feature of the system is the ability to email a document to a recipient. And a return label, and I send the email. And now that recipient has received both the shipment label and a return label that they can use later on. Now let's go back and see what has happened to the order in PageDNA. So I'm in my order, and now I want to track prior orders to see if this is actually closed out or not. And we can see that this specific order has indeed closed out. And there it is. So in a nutshell, Acceleship shipping integration with your PageDNA storefront infrastructure will save minutes on the front end when producing a label and minutes on the back end when closing out an order and sending out emails to end users who want to get their tracking information. That's minutes for every order. The system also has some neat added features as well. For example, if I click into orders, I can create an order from scratch right in the Acceleship system. Well, why would I do that? Well, perhaps I'm a CSR and I want to create an order for a proof that the shipping department can access at a later time during the day or week when the is ready to go out. I can also create order imports. And why would I do that? Well, perhaps a customer has sent you a large distribution list or a large list of orders that did not originate in PageDNA. You can import those orders into our approved template, and those orders will be stored in the system until they have finished production and have been converted into shipments. So think about order imports as a way to bypass manually keying order information into the system in order to produce labels, but those orders persist in the system until all those orders have gone through your necessary production workflow. Now contrast that with shipments. I can create a new shipment, and I would do that by simply keying in manually all the information required to execute a label. And I can do that one of two ways. I could either key it manually, or I can do it from an address lookup, where I simply type in the name of a company. I select it, and it drops into my destination address. The other thing that I could do is shipment imports. And these differ from order imports. A shipment import is temporarily in the system for only as long as it takes to produce and print the labels, tear them off, and stick them to boxes in an assembly line type fashion. So where orders are longer term and persist in the system perhaps for weeks and months, shipments only stay in the system for maybe a day or two. The system also has reporting for both shipments and orders. So I can see shipments that are leaving the system and heading into the supply chain, and orders that are coming into the system and have yet to be shipped. And then child accounts is really an administrative view that only I can see. I hope this introduction to shipping integration between PageDNA and Acceleship has been helpful for you and will help you evaluate the return on investment for your specific workflows. Thanks for watching.